SAGA Podcast.
And welcome back to Space Arena, Ground Arena, where we cover Star Wars Unlimited from the ground up into space. I'm Mr. Ben, and today I'm joined by two co-pilots. Banana, how's it going, man?
It's going good. Summer's here. It's going to be hot next week. But yeah, I'm good. How are you guys?
Well, I think it's already hot this week. Some of that heat has already come to the Midwest, at least. But Sam, how's it going?
Great. Just got done with some Northeast Ohio Galactics Worlds testing, so I'm in the SWU frame of mind here.
Excellent.
Ready to roll. Yeah.
All right, so before we jump into our topics for the show, I guess what have you guys been playing? Sam? Well, I guess Galactic Worlds, you just said that, right? Anything else?
A lot of set 5. I don't know, I feel like that's one of the drawbacks of the like leak whatever drop of everything is like basically we had half of the set 4 like time period of play still to go and everybody jumped ship early. So no, I've mostly just been playing a lot of set 5 stuff, which is unfortunate because in 2 weeks I'm going to a PQ for set 4 and I have not played a set 4 game in like a month pretty much.
Oof. Yeah, that can scramble you a little bit going into it. Like, wait, hold on, that card's not allowed?
Yeah, now you got to reset.
But
And,
how about you,
other
Banana?
than that, yeah.
Same thing, kind of playing a bunch of set 5 stuff. So Snoke, Anakin, Qui-Gon, and then trying older leaders and with new cards like Yoda and Phasma and Grand Inquisitor, stuff like that. So mostly digging into set 5.
Yeah, I've printed a few proxies here and there. Mostly playing Twin Suns, which is going to be the bulk of the show tonight. I have become rather obsessed with this format, which is a little weird because I come from such like a competitive card game background, but like now I'm super into the playing Commander when I play Magic. I'm way into Twin Suns. But before we get to that, we do want to touch on the Trilogy format. Banana, if I haven't heard of Trilogy before, can you explain it to me?
Could, but I'm not going to. Okay, so the Trilogy format was announced
Thanks,
over
man.
a stream yesterday. Yeah. And there was an article that accompanied it. And basically, it's a new format where instead of bringing one deck, you bring 3. So you build 3 decks, and deck building, you share all of your cards for those 3 decks. So you can't run the same like leader and base combination 3 times. And if you have like Force Throw, 3 copies of it in one deck, you can't have any copies of Force Throw in the other 2 decks because those 3 copies are shared between all 3 decks. So you can go 1/1/1, 2/1/0, or 3/0/0, however you want to do it, but it's a shared card pool for all 3 decks. And then when you get to the table, you show your opponent the leader base combinations. They get to ban 1, you get to ban 1 of theirs, and then it's you got to win with both of your other decks. Best 2 out of 3. So that's the Trilogy format. It's a new, different way to play Star Wars.
Woohoo!
Did I get that right? Did I screw it up?
It sounds right.
I think you got it right.
Sam,
This
do you have any
is-
reactions to this format?
Not particularly, other than, there's a lot of formats in this game. There's already a new format, like, less than a year away with the, transition to having an Eternal format, and now we got another format. So, I don't know. It's hard enough getting people right now together to play the formats that exist right now, but people seem excited about it. So, if there's, trilogy events that happen and draw people, I'm excited for it for that reason. But I'm
Well,
not
that's
like
fair.
inherently like, oh boy, Trilogy is great. This is just what I've been waiting for. But yeah, it seems cool. I like, cool, different ways to play the game. That's really all I got.
Yeah, if somebody's really into this, I don't want to tell them they're wrong, but I've played this format in so many games for so many, like, and I guess to be charitable, it's in Hearthstone and Dice Throne and a million other games because people tend to like it, but it's just, okay, cool, I guess. Like, if you're into it, I'm happy for you, but
I don't know if or how much I'll play of it, but I think more ways to play the game that are supported by the company making the game is nothing but a good thing if they support the format in some way.
I just hope we don't get like a PQ level Trilogy event before we get that level of draft event. Give me a limited like real OP event before a trilogy nonsense OP event. That's my only wish.
Yeah. Yeah. More ways to play, I guess, is cool. If you're into it, I'm happy for you.
Think
Whatever.
one of the things I like about it is potentially um it gives you a reason to play with cards you normally wouldn't in deck building, because most people, 75% of their cards don't leave the binder. So this gives you potentially a reason to dig into the binder to find some of those other cards that you wouldn't
You know
normally
what
play.
else? You know what else lets you dig into the binder and play cards you wouldn't normally play? Twin Suns.
Twin Suns.
What a
Baby, how's that
segue.
for a segue? All right. Seriously, did you guys have any other comments about Trilogy?
No, let's get to Twin
No.
Suns. That's
All
an
right, so
awesome
let's talk
format.
about Twin Suns. I'm a huge fan. I really like the multiplayer aspect. I mostly play with like my friend group and people that I'm comfortable enough with that the level of trash talk can kind of be elevated. Like I'll behave away with 3 guys that I've been friends with for 20 years that I wouldn't behave at the store with strangers. But in either setting, I think it's really, really fun. I think it solves some of the problems that exist in other similar formats. So overall, I'm just such a huge fan of it. And now that we're playing it at the bigger card sizes, I've become even more excited about it. So that's kind of my preamble. And I do want to talk about specific cards, but before we get into it, if you guys had any comments about the format in general, Banana, did you have anything you wanted to open with?
I don't have too much other than it is the most fun way to play the game, in my opinion, is through Twin Suns. Like,
Ooh,
I
hot
appreciate
take.
I know you're like a big draft and sealed guy, Sam, but like I am into the game for constructed premiere, but Twin Suns is a much more relaxed and more fun, and I feel like the team building and the camaraderie and like the actual community building part of the game is happens way more with Twin Suns than it ever would with constructed, because like constructed, if you remember when C3OP was introduced, was supposed to be like you can interact with the game any way you want, you can come show up, just hang out and you'll get OP packs, and that never actually happened. Your weekly events, everyone most of the time is playing a competitive deck, and it can push away the casual crowd. So like that's why I think having Twin Suns events, stores have a Twin Suns night, I think you'll find you'll get your casual crowd out and you actually have some more community building through the game.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think so the way that I've interacted with Twin Suns, like around here, pretty much set 1 and set 2, I feel like nobody was playing Twin Suns. And then interest picked up a lot in set 3, as the card pool expanded and you could do more kind of cool interactions that you couldn't do in Premiere with the different leaders. So then it's most often played kind of like after weekly events. So like people show up, they run weeklies, and then like a bunch of people stay later to like play a Twin Suns game. But then there's also like I've been to a few Twin Suns like nights, not at stores like you were saying, Banana, but more like people organize like at their house, like Twin Suns nights and stuff, and play like, we just run through multiple Twin Suns games, and those are really fun. And that kind of I think gets to your point of like a lot of the non OP scene, I feel like, is pretty much Twin Suns exclusive. Like if you're playing casually with people, like I think you're much more likely to get a casual tabletop Twin Suns game than anything else. So for sure. But yeah, it's an awesome format. I love playing it. I try to play it as often as I can after weekly events, like I said. So yeah, it's great.
All right. So I wanted to approach this from like a fun first angle initially. We will talk about some cards that can help you win your games. And I have a couple of concepts I want to mention that I think are really important for the format. But let's do that after we talk about the just for fun stuff. So we're going to bring up some cards that are designed to, or at least we think are maximizing the fun that we can have at the table. And I want to start with Jar Jar Binks. I was exactly the wrong audience for Jar Jar Binks.
Fun begins.
I was a very serious Star Wars fan when episode 1 came out. Like I camped out for like a long, embarrassingly long amount of time. And then I have disliked Jar Jar Binks for a significant portion of my life. And I've been mystified by his like popularity in more recent years. But this card is just perfect for Twin Suns. You attack and like just somebody gets hit because you attacked. And maybe it's you. Like that to me kind of captures like the essence of what we're trying to do here at the Just for Fun Twin Suns games.
That's absurd. How do you What do you, when you're playing this, how do you randomize the on-attack ability? And you just assign like, okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, or this is 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
It hasn't been like a huge problem yet, but I welcome the challenge. Let me get out my D100. Let's do it.
All right. That's the... All right. I mean, if there's a spot to play Jar Jar Binks, I think definitely Twin Suns is the spot to do it.
This is literally the only place to play this card. I would never play this card in a competitive format with stakes, ever.
Sam.
Okay.
Jar Jar Binks is a tough act to follow. Banana, give your fun card next.
All right.
We got to scale down from Jar Jar Binks.
All right. My fun card is Impropriety Among Thieves. Something here with these cunning cards. I think this one's fun because it's everybody swapping a card. It's not just like choose sides or it's 1-on-1. It's like everybody swapping a card. I just think it's fun.
I admit I have never had this card played in a game of Twin Suns that I've participated in.
Yeah,
but I look forward to it happening.
Yeah. I think it's just wild that everybody switches a card, right? You just pass it. Everybody passes a card. So it makes for hijinks.
Fair enough. All right, I'm gonna probably like change gears slightly on from your guys' selections with my picks. So I think the cards that make Twin Suns the most fun are things that interact with the whole table or basically create giant threats that like change the nature of the gameplay. Twin Suns is generally like everybody's trying to be very balanced and even until somebody like creates a giant threat, right? And then kind of puts the target on their back. So I love cards that do that because that's like the big swings in the game. So the first shout out I'm gonna give in the for fun category is Corvus. Corvus is one of my favorite cards from the last set. Even in limited, I loved Corvus. And playing it in Twin Suns is awesome. You have like some crappy pilot on the ground that nobody's really paying attention to because you had a pilot on the ground. And you play Corvus and you pick it up or you move a pilot and create this like giant monstrous space threat, which is already tough to deal with in Twin Suns. Just awesome card. One of my favorite cards to play in Twin Suns.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. Okay. I will throw up a base. I want to go with the Data Vault because what is more fun than adding 10 more cards to your deck of singletons? Now it doesn't fit in your deck pod. In seriousness, adding 3 more health in a game of Twin Suns can be absolutely relevant. I've seen so many games come down to like 1, 2, 3 health. So it does have some like mechanical win the game application, but I just like the idea of having my deck be like 10 cards taller than everybody else's deck at the table.
100%. It's so fun too when you're deck building. The Twin Suns deck I've been playing for the last month or two is a Data Vault deck. And it's basically like I went through deck building. It's like, wait a minute, there's more cards I want to add. Are there 10 more? Yes. All right, put them in there. We're a Data Vault deck now. Which you can't really do in Premiere, but in Twin Suns, sure. Go for it.
Yeah, 90. Get to 90.
No, much like Jar Jar Binks, this is not a card I think I would ever play in a competitive format with stakes. But like in Twin Suns, this is perfect. Like it's just more fun.
All right. My next fun one, Merciless Contest. Everybody deletes something. Like Sam said, the fun cards are the ones that interact with the whole board or create a threat. Merciless Contest, much like Impropriety Among Thieves, interacts with the whole board just in a different way.
Yep. Okay, you're on the right path, Banana. I gotta say you're on the right path with this, but you went too small. This effect is not the most fun interact with the whole table effect. That goes to my second pick, Zero the Hut. Zero the Hut, phenomenal Twin Suns card. Messes with the whole table. Isn't super overpowered, but wow. What an awesome Twin Suns card this is. Does something when played, forces everybody to deal with it, or it's gonna keep doing things every single turn. Awesome card. Awesome Twin Suns card.
This was gonna be my third fun pick, so now I have to find a different one.
Oh,
that art is fantastic too.
Yeah.
Like just so like such good like goofball art for this format. Okay. So my final having fun at the table card is going to be Death Star plans.
Also an
This
excellent pick.
So I will say ramp as a general concept in any of these multiplayer formats tends to be very, very strong. You have more opponents, you have more time. So this is another card that's kind of like on the edge of being a goofball pick, but also has some like actual utility in helping you win the game. But passing these stupid plans around and like screaming at each other's, hold on, man, like don't kill my guy until I get to recruit something. Yeah, the table politics element of it, and even the art kind of fits the theme of like having this thing for. I love it. It's perfect. It's one of my favorite cards in the format.
It is hilarious. It's one of those cards that, like, when it comes down, the whole game pretty much like stops being about what it was about before and becomes about this card instead. So that right there, great
Yeah,
selection.
definitely the best place for Death Star plans is Twin Suns.
Sam, do you want to go next and give
I was
Banana some more
but
time to find a
do you want me to
replacement?
give? Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. This pick might be unfair. So, Banana, if I'm about to steal what you're thinking of for your next pick, that's fine. I have some honorable mentions I can switch to, but I'm gonna take for my third pick just all of the bounties. Bounties as a whole in Twin Suns, phenomenal. The person who plays them is like very highly unlikely to be the person who collects them. So they're pretty much like politics cards. I mean, like the whole point of them is basically just for creating, positive political situations for yourself. And yeah, they're just great. They're cheap, they're fun, they set people up, they result in like tag teams and little team formations shifting and alliance building. So awesome Twin Suns cards as a whole, every single bounty. I take them all.
That was actually on my short list, was to say the same thing. That's a great call, man.
I was gonna pick just one bounty, but that's fine. Unrefusable offer was the one I was thinking, but
Sorry.
that's all right.
I stole out from your picks twice.
It's all right. We'll go with this one. Caught in the crossfire. Choose two enemies in the same arena, and they deal damage to each other. When you're sharing arenas with 4 different opponents, this can be quite fun.
Those are my honorable mentions list. Good choice.
Good stuff.
I'm here all week.
I like the quick on your feet element of it too. All right, so let's switch gears just a little bit from going like maximizing silliness and move into if you actually want to try to win the game. I mentioned ramp as a concept before that I think is really important. Another thing I want to kind of briefly mention is healing. Healing is so much more critical in Twin Suns. So many of these games come down to just a few hit points here and there, and being able to unexpectedly throw off the math can force an opponent into a situation where they cough up a win to you that would have otherwise been theirs. Or I think those two things are so much more valued than they are in Premier. Did you guys have any general concepts about winning games in Twin Suns before we get into specific cards, Sam?
In addition to ramp, which is OP, like you said, that was on my list here, and healing, I think Sentinel also is, as a concept, Sentinels are much better in Twin Suns than they are in normal play.
I would agree.
They make people break deals. Like you make a hey, don't attack me deal, and then it's like, sorry, man, everybody else has Sentinels.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They're really subtle ways to just like nudge people away from you because it's like you got options. Why take the difficult path? People want the easy path, you know? But hey, you know what? Miss Ben, before we get into what the winning cards are, should we just briefly, just so people have a little bit of context for some of these picks, do you have like a couple favorite Twin Suns decks that
Sure.
you've played or that you've been successful with? Can we just like maybe just to like give some people like, hey, these are the Twin Suns decks that we are speaking from our experience with?
My favorite combination is Thrawn, and a green base, which is now Data Vault. I mean, it was yeah. I like looking at everybody's cards. I like sort of making the whole table stop and show me their stuff. I don't play the game where it's like only I can see it. Just hold the card up. If other people see it, whatever. We're trying to keep the game going. But having the double Thrawns, even though the double death rattle thing on the newer Thrawn doesn't really like that's not necessary. Like I was playing Thrawn Iden for a long time with the like mid game heal off the super laser blast. Even when I'm playing for fun, I'm a disgusting control player. Like I haven't shaken that curse. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little more casual now, but I still love pressing the long game, trying to build value, and then have these big bursty turns where I can like take people by surprise and like end the game. I love being able to do.
Awesome. But now you got any favorite Twin Suns decks that you've played?
Sabine Leia is pretty gross in Twin Suns. It's super fast, and you just play all the rebels possible, and you just, yeah, it's a problem. I like that one. I've been playing anything I can play Hondo in. So like Hondo Cad Bane is pretty fun. Hondo Bosk is pretty fun.
Why didn't you pick Hondo in the section we just did?
Well, I wasn't picking a leader, but Hondo.
Hondo leader. I thought you were thinking of Hondo. You could have picked Hondo unit in the section we just did. Stealing upgrades, pretty fun in Twin Suns too.
Can you steal bounties? But yeah, and like Cad Bosk is pretty fun just for the whole like bounty hunter theme. Yeah. Palpatine Thrawn. Like Palpatine 1 with the new Thrawn's pretty cool. Because you can defeat your own units, and when Palpatine steals a unit, and then you can use his attack and defeat it and trigger if it has a when defeated twice. Those are ones I like.
Good deal. All right, well, I've played, so other than dabbling here and there, there's 3 Twin Suns decks that I've had, like, extended runs with. The first one was Set 1 Luke Mandalorian. That was, like, the first Twin Suns deck that I really got invested in and played a lot of. That deck was sweet. Tons of, like, upgrades, and a lot of games ended with just giant, like, super, yoked out Luke Skywalkers or Mandalorians ending the game quickly. Then I played a good bit of, in this new set, Cad Bane and Asajj Ventress, which is just like all pinging, like ping everything at the table all the time, every round. But the main deck that I've played a lot of Twin Suns recently is Lando Akbar and Data Vault,
Oh my god.
which has like been the most fun Twin Suns deck that I've played. So
That sounds
a lot of
awesome,
my
though.
cards that we're about to talk about for like what's the powerful way to win are gonna be built on this like let's stall the game out and win after everybody's exhausted themselves, basically. So, okay, carry on with that frame of reference. I'm ready to go.
I love it. Oh man.
Real
Well,
quick.
actually, oh, go ahead.
I have an honorable mention on another one that's fun. Is Grand Inquisitor and Krennic. Just throwing that out there.
Okay. Cautiously proceeding.
Good now.
So, my favorite cards to play in this game tend to be the dark side cards, but there is a set 5 card that I think is going to be awesome, and I'm probably going to end up paying 5 for it because it is a light side card, and that is the Premonition of Doom. The next time you take the initiative this phase, exhaust all units. I love the idea of throwing this down and just everybody's like, oh man, I'm going to get one more attack. These big swarmy boards that you've built, all for nothing. I'll pay 5 for that. Maybe I'll even play some hero cards just so I don't have to have that aspect penalty. But I think this card's going to be really fun, and it's going to make people so mad at me.
It's exhaust the whole board. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like outmaneuver, but like even more obnoxious.
Super obnoxious.
Outmaneuver was also in my honorable mention for fun Twin Suns card list.
I love that card.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, hit us with a trying to win the game Twin Suns card.
We're changing the order altogether. Okay. I have some like groups of cards, but I think the first card I'll take Unshakable Will on the premise of what I just said, that Sentinel is extremely strong. Unshakable Will is a card I've played in a lot of decks. It's always great whenever I play it. You can put it on space stuff, which, as I said, like a lot of times I found in Twin Suns, creating big space threats is like one of the most dangerous things you can do. Like I think Pilot Vader leader is like arguably the strongest Twin Suns leader. Creating a giant threat in space is really hard for the table to deal with, and being able to create giant space sentinels is often a very effective deterrent to those strategies. So, Unshakable Will.
Dirty.
Yeah, that's pretty good. How about you, Ben?
I got Snoke. Just everybody. Boom. Nope. You think you got stats, you don't. Those are nice TIE fighters, Vader, until they're not.
Spicy. You got to get to it. That's
You
the
got to
key.
get to it. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to get to it.
And sometimes he hits the board and it kills so many things you can hear them entering the graveyard. There's so much cardboard moving that there's a fluttering noise accompanying this guy's deployment. This card's great. He wasn't on my list, but he should have been. I agree with this.
All right, what you got, Ben?
Well, honestly, I don't want to say it now, but Merciless Contest was on my take the game seriously list, but we're just going to ignore that since it was on your for fun card, Josh.
It could
And
be
we'll
both.
go with
Winning the game is fun. You can play a card that wins you the game. That's fun.
well, here, I'm going to continue my bucking the trend of going with dark side cards and Redemption. Now, this is a card that makes my dark side control lists in Premiere. I play decks that can get to the 10 resources necessary to be able to play this thing. The option of being able to have it come down as a big butt Sentinel, you guys have kind of already covered why Sentinel is good in Twin Suns, and I mentioned earlier how powerful healing this is. So this gives you the flexibility of this big threat or a big heal and screwing the math up. This card is such a bomb, and I have no problem paying 10 for it. I bet those hero players love it at 8.
Great choice. Redemption has definitely won a lot of Twin Suns games that I've been involved in. All right. Is it back to me?
Yep. What's your second pick?
All right. You guys can tell me if you think this is illegal, want me to pick one, but I'm going to pick cards that steal things from your opponent. 3 in particular: Traitorous, Change of Heart, Commandeer. They're all the same effect. Let's just lump them together as one pick. Right? I get this. Oftentimes in Twin Suns.
We'll allow it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. In Twin Suns, people do you have more time to do things with upgrade, build units up basically and create these kind of board states or single threats that are big and taking your opponent's stuff is extremely cool in Twin Suns and often leads to a victory in the later rounds.
Well, especially when you can change of heart something and then crash it into something else and kill both those somethings and screw up 2 people at the table. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Again, I agree with all your guys' smart picks.
Would you include the Starship Thief?
Sure. We can throw that in.
All right.
I mean, unless you want to pick it, Banana, you can pick it as a separate, it's its own category.
Nope, that's fine.
That depends. What color is it? If
Green.
it's not yellow, I probably won't play it.
It is a villainy card, though. I think you could get it in there, Mr. Ben.
I do have a yellow villainy card for my next play to win the game. You play to win the game, right? And that's the Cad Bane unit. Another one that can interact with multiple players' stuff and take them. So
yeah, also a great pick. Much like Redemption has ended many games that I have participated in.
To Mr. Ben.
Sorry, I just realized my laptop isn't plugged in. Okay.
Please plug
I'm
it
gonna
in.
go with a base again. Yeah, I got it in there now. I got a little warning. So, okay, I'm gonna go with a base again, and this time I'm gonna talk about Colossus. Now, I do think the generic aspect, what is it, Lake Country or whatever, the 34 health base, that kind of fits into the same category, but is significantly worse for obvious reason of not having an aspect. But Colossus, drawing 1 less card in a game of Twin Suns is not a huge penalty, and getting 5 extra health, I guess I'm starting to sound a little bit like a broken record, but again, I've seen so many Twin Suns games come down to 1, 2, 3 health. I think 5 is a big and significant number, and the drawback is almost non-existent when you're dealing with 3 other opponents.
Yeah, oftentimes just not having a turn 1 play just means that the next round your opponents all attack each other and leave you alone. Sometimes it's an advantage. You're the only person without a unit on the board. And also,
now, if all the other units are Sentinels, then that kind of backfires. But anyway, I cut you off there, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say the other thing that's great about Colossus and Twin Suns is you get the plan token, which kind of minimizes the drawback of this because you don't have a turn 1 play. Even if you mulligan and you're you don't like your 5-card hand, well, you just turn 1 plan and you kind of filter out your bad draw, which you can't do in Premiere. So yeah. I like this pick.
All right, Sam, what you got?
Boy. All right, I'm not going to say...
steal. What are you going to steal from me this time?
I'm not going to steal. I'm not going to pick a ramp card because we kind of led with ramp as OP. But just as a side note before I make this last pick, like anybody who plays a ramp card in Twin Suns, they're immediately the table target. That's a standing rule for me in any Twin Suns game. You ramp, I'm attacking you my next action. But so taking ramp off the table, I've got two kind of more niche cards that I like a lot in Twin Suns. I'm gonna go with the one that I think is maybe more surprising and select On Top of Things. I think On Top of Things for two in a Twin Suns game is an insane card to have late in like the last round when the game is ending and like people are figuring out like okay I can like bring the game to an end because I get this many attacks, they only get this many attacks, and like this card just messes with so much of the like end game math if you have it in hand secretly. I love this card. I have this in most yellow decks that I create in Twin Suns.
This lets you end the game out of nowhere, huh?
It just like insulates your units and gives them an attack buff in the like key round when people have like tried to figure out if they can win or not, basically.
So there is a card, I can't think of the name of it, that would be a direct counter to this.
Well, there's lots of cards that counter it. Any
I know.
upgrade 8 counters it.
Dies to removal.
No, but there's that.
Great argument, Banana.
No. Just like it, like this card, I can't think of the name of it, was on my short list for fun cards, and it's like I think it's called In the Heat of Battle,
Yeah.
where every unit gains Sentinel, and nothing has Saboteur. It was on my list for
That's pretty great.
for fun cards. So I'm just imagining like On Top of Things, In the Heat of Battle, and you're like, wait, what? Now everything has Sentinel. All right, I like it though. You didn't steal it. That one wasn't on my list. Ready for this one?
Prepared.
Smuggler's Aid. Heal 3 out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Worth it.
It's a good pick. It's definitely, I've seen it played a lot. Yeah.
What I got. Heal 3 out of nowhere. You don't care if you draw it early because you can smuggle it late. I'd even play it with Hondo.
Yeah. It's another game that just like messes people in, that messes with the end game like calculation of can I win the game? Can I end the game now or not? And like you don't account for they have 3 resources that can heal 3 out of their resource row.
I got.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Healing is so strong. And ramp and sentinel.
Timely reinforcements seems like it should be good in Twins.
One of these days, I really want to ramp enough that I can pull off the Endless Legions
Oh my gosh.
move in Twin Suns. Like, I've done it in Premiere a bunch, but in Twin Suns, like, I think it would just be awesome to have, like, vomit 18 units out onto the board or whatever it would be. I guess I could play some green and not have to pay double penalty. 16 units out onto the board or whatever it is. That sounds like a lot of fun. Might be hard to get there, though.
Yeah, I don't know that I've like usually the games end. It's weird. Like originally you're thinking, oh, these games are going to take longer, but they really don't. They're like 8, 9, 10 resources and the game's ending.
I do think one of the things now I'm not a longtime Commander player. I only played my first game of Commander in like 2023 or something, maybe 22, but like within the last few years. And coming to it from playing 1v1 formats across dozens of card games across almost my entire life, I had a really hard time kind of acclimating to like table politics and making deals, and that like I played like really quietly the way I would generally play like a 1v1 tournament game, and that just kind of doesn't work for the format. But now learning what's cool about Commander and seeing how it has been applied in Twin Suns, the player elimination thing is just such an obvious stroke of genius to like not have somebody sitting there watching their friends having fun for 45 minutes because their deck went to crap this game. It's so brilliant that it almost feels silly to point to it as being good because everybody, like, there's nobody who's against that. Like, literally everybody thinks it's a good idea. Or, I mean, I guess there's the internet. Somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong on YouTube, probably.
No, I agree. I think the way the game ends is really smart. And a definite improvement over Commander.
Yeah. I was told this if you guys want to play your, Endless Legions cards in, I think it was at Richmond. They were running, Twin Suns side events. And apparently the FFG staff suggested this, that as a Twin Suns rule, everybody's base is plus 10 health to start the game from whatever its starting point is, which obviously like the games go longer and you get to like a lot of Twin Suns games. They actually don't go as long as you think. Like they kind of end because like you can't defend against the whole table. So like it's pretty easy to get damage through. So anyway, if you're interested in a like variation of the Twin Suns format, this is, I'm told, FFG recommended plus 10 health to everybody's base to start the Twin Suns game.
Take it.
There you go.
I have not played it that way.
45
I'd be
health
surprised if
Colossus.
it drugged, though. Have you guys ever played a game where it was like, man, I really wish this would end? I don't feel like I've ever had that experience playing Twin Suns. If
No.
anything, I'm like, give me one more turn, bro. Don't kill me.
Yeah. Yeah. Initially, when I first started playing Twin Suns, I was like, oh, I get to play all the big stuff you can't play in Premiere. These games are going to take forever. And then they ended on like the 6th turn or whatever. And you're like, wow, no, Twin Suns is actually like a pretty fast format if people don't like haven't appropriately calibrated their decks for it. So yeah, I never feel like it's dragging out.
Well, that more or less covers the topics that I wanted to hit with regard to the format. Did you guys have anything else to say about Twin Suns or any other topics you wanted to hit before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then on that note, it's been awesome hanging out with you guys. This is really cool. And we'll see you in the arenas.